Do you ever feel like every food you enjoy is off limits now that you've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? You walk into a bakery and suddenly, every loaf, every slice, every warm and comforting smell feels like a threat. But what if I told you that bread is not the enemy? What if the right kind of bread could actually help you balance your blood sugar naturally, without giving up flavor, satisfaction, or your favorite morning toast? In this video, we're not just going to list 5 random breads. We're going to uncover 5 powerful bread choices backed by science, nutrition, and real-life results from thousands of diabetics. Each one has the power to stabilize glucose, reduce cravings, improve digestion, and bring joy back to your meals. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which breads to look for, how to eat them, and how to avoid the dangerous imposters that spike your sugar without you even noticing. Let's start strong, with one of the most underrated but effective options out there, oat bread. You might think of oats as a boring breakfast food, but oat bread is anything but boring when it comes to managing blood sugar. It's packed with a unique type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan, which forms a gel-like substance in your gut that slows down the absorption of carbohydrates. This means your blood sugar doesn't shoot up after eating. It rises slowly, steadily, and safely. That's a game changer for anyone struggling with post-meal spikes. Oat bread is also surprisingly high in plant-based protein and healthy fats, making it a complete food that keeps you full for hours. This matters because hunger is a hidden enemy in diabetes. The more often you snack to calm your cravings, the more unstable your sugar becomes. But one slice of oat bread, especially if it's topped with the right ingredients, can become a shield that protects your energy and focus all morning long. Picture this. You're starting your day with a slice of oat bread, lightly toasted, topped with a tablespoon of natural peanut butter and a few banana slices. It's sweet, salty, satisfying, and most importantly, it won't sabotage your glucose levels. In fact, that mix of healthy carbs, fiber, and fat can set the tone for a stable morning with no crashes, no fatigue, and no guilt. Let's talk ingredients for a second. When choosing oat bread, the label should say whole oats or steel-cut oats as the first ingredient. Avoid breads that just sprinkle oats on top for decoration or sneak in refined flour underneath. True oat bread has a dense, hearty texture. If it feels light and fluffy like white bread, it's probably a trick. Want to enjoy it in more creative ways? Use it as a base for mini oat bread pizzas. Spread a bit of tomato sauce on a slice, add mozzarella, tomato, and fresh basil. Pop it in the oven for 10 minutes, and you've got a hot, comforting snack that's blood sugar friendly and full of flavor. Another idea: oat bread grilled cheese with low-fat cheese and a side of sliced cucumber. It's crunchy, creamy, and keeps your carbs under control without giving up the foods you love. But here's something most people don't know. Oat bread also helps lower cholesterol, especially the dangerous LDL type that increases cardiovascular risk. For people with diabetes, heart disease is a constant shadow. But beta-glucan, the fiber in oats, has been shown in multiple studies to reduce LDL by as much as 10% when eaten consistently. That's not a marketing claim. That's real, measurable impact on your long-term health. And if you're short on time, oat bread is also meal prep friendly. You can slice it up, freeze it, and toast it straight from the freezer without losing taste or texture. No excuses, just healthy choices ready to go. Let's not forget the emotional side of eating. For many diabetics, cutting out bread feels like punishment. It's not just about food, it's about comfort, memories, and the ritual of sharing a meal. Oat bread lets you keep that joy in your life, without fear. And that's the message I want you to hold on to. This isn't about strict diets, shame, or restriction. This is about eating smarter, not less. Oat bread is more than a safe choice. It's an empowering choice that supports your health, your goals, and your peace of mind. In the next segment, we'll explore another incredible option, one that's even higher in fiber and brings a nutty crunch to every bite. But before we get there, take a moment and think. When was the last time you enjoyed a slice of bread without guilt or worry? You deserve that. and oat bread is one powerful step in the right direction. Now let's talk about a true nutritional powerhouse that most people completely overlook: flaxseed bread. If oat bread is the steady guardian of your blood sugar, flaxseed bread is the bold warrior that fights inflammation, cravings, and heart risks, all in one slice. Flax seeds are tiny, but they're loaded with soluble and insoluble fiber, plant-based omega-3s, and lignans, which are powerful compounds with antioxidant and hormonal benefits. But what matters most for someone with type 2 diabetes is this: flaxseed bread slows digestion dramatically, helps keep insulin sensitivity high, and reduces post-meal blood sugar spikes. Let's break that down. When you eat most types of bread, especially white or even wheat breads marketed as healthy, your blood sugar rises fast, insulin floods your system, and within an hour or two, you feel hungry again. This is what creates the roller coaster effect of energy crashes and cravings. Flaxseed bread doesn't let that happen. Because of its high fiber and fat content, it slows the breakdown of carbohydrates in your meal, creating a slow and steady release of glucose into your bloodstream. That means fewer ups and downs, fewer snacks, and more control over your appetite and sugar levels. But that's not all. The omega-3 fatty acids in flax seeds, called ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, are anti-inflammatory, which helps reduce insulin resistance and protect your heart. And that's crucial because cardiovascular disease is the #1 complication of diabetes. Every time you eat flaxseed bread, you're not just helping your blood sugar, you're actively protecting your arteries. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine sitting down to breakfast with a slice of flaxseed bread, toasted and topped with avocado, a squeeze of lemon, and a dash of sea salt. It's crunchy, creamy, satisfying, and packed with fiber, healthy fats, and zero added sugar. You take a bite, and instead of worrying about how it's going to affect your glucose, you just enjoy, because you know it's working with your body, not against it. Or maybe it's lunchtime, and you're in the mood for something hearty. Grab 2 slices of flaxseed bread, layer in some grilled chicken, leafy greens, and mustard, and you've got a filling sandwich that won't spike your blood sugar or leave you sluggish after. It's the kind of meal that leaves you energized, full, and in control. Now here's an important tip when buying flaxseed bread. Check the label. Make sure it says whole flaxseed meal or ground flaxseed as a main ingredient. Avoid anything that uses only flax flavor or flax blend, which usually means they've added just a tiny amount to market it as healthy. And avoid breads that mix in refined flour or sugar. That defeats the purpose completely. Real flaxseed bread will have a dark, dense texture, a slightly nutty aroma, and visible flecks of flax throughout. If you like sweet flavors, try this. Toast a slice, spread a thin layer of almond butter, and top it with sugar-free jam and cinnamon. It's a treat that feels indulgent, but keeps your blood sugar completely in check. And here's something else diabetics love. Flaxseed bread freezes perfectly. You can slice it, store it in freezer bags, and grab a piece whenever you need a healthy base for a quick meal or snack. This makes it ideal for busy mornings or those moments when you're tempted to reach for something processed or sugary. But let me tell you what really makes flaxseed bread special. It changes your relationship with food. When you start eating foods that work for you, foods that leave you energized, full, and focused, you stop feeling like a victim of your diagnosis. You stop fighting your body and start rebuilding it. That's what happened to Linda, a 52-year-old teacher with type 2 diabetes who had struggled with food cravings and unstable energy for years. After switching to flaxseed bread every morning, she told me she started to feel clear-headed, satisfied, and in control for the first time in a decade. And that's not magic. That's biology done right. If you're the kind of person who's been afraid to eat bread, flaxseed bread is your permission to enjoy again, confidently and intelligently. In the next block, we'll talk about a third bread that's even more accessible than oat or flax, and that most people already have in their kitchens. But almost nobody knows how to use it correctly for blood sugar control. Stay with me, because this next one could completely change how you approach your daily meals. Let's talk about a bread you've probably seen 1,000 times, but maybe never realized just how powerful it can be for your health. I'm talking about whole grain bread. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "I've heard this one before," stay with me. Because most people think they're eating whole grain bread, but they're actually eating cleverly disguised white bread. And if you're diabetic, that's the difference between stabilizing your sugar and wrecking it without even knowing. So what makes true whole grain bread so important? It all comes down to fiber, specifically insoluble fiber, which slows down digestion, supports gut health, and helps you feel full longer. Unlike refined white bread, which is stripped of its fiber and nutrients, whole grain bread retains the bran, germ, and endosperm of the grain. That means it's packed with vitamins, minerals, and slow-burning carbs that help regulate blood sugar instead of spiking it. But not all whole grain breads are created equal. You need to look for loaves that list 100% whole grain or whole wheat flour as the first ingredient. Ignore packages that say multigrain, wheat bread, or even 7-grain if they don't also say 100% whole grain. It's marketing, and it's dangerous. Here's why it matters. In one clinical study, participants who replaced refined grains with whole grains for just 3 weeks saw a significant improvement in their fasting blood glucose and insulin sensitivity. That's just from switching bread. Nothing else. So yes, whole grain bread can be that powerful. Now let's talk about how to eat it. A slice of true whole grain bread toasted in the morning, topped with mashed avocado and a sprinkle of hemp seeds, gives you fiber, healthy fat, and protein all in one bite. That's the kind of breakfast that stabilizes your energy, keeps you full, and fights the fatigue that so many people with type 2 diabetes experience every day. Or how about lunch? Make a light sandwich with turkey breast, lettuce, tomato, and a smear of mustard. Wrap it in foil, toss it in your bag, and you've got a blood sugar-friendly meal you can eat anywhere. It's quick, delicious, and it won't leave you chasing snacks an hour later. You can even use whole grain bread in creative ways. Cube it and make low-carb croutons with olive oil and herbs. Use it as the base for healthy French toast with cinnamon and sugar-free syrup. Mix it with eggs, almond milk, and spices to make a diabetic-friendly bread pudding. This versatility makes it incredibly easy to incorporate into your daily routine, without getting bored or feeling restricted. And if you're on a tight schedule or live alone, remember this: whole grain bread freezes beautifully. Slice it, store it in a Ziploc bag, and toast it straight from the freezer. You'll always have a stable, healthy carb source ready to go. But let's go deeper. Whole grain bread doesn't just help regulate sugar. It helps protect your entire metabolic system. It provides magnesium, which is essential for insulin signaling. It delivers B vitamins, which support energy production. It's even been linked to a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease and stroke. And unlike low-carb breads that often use artificial fibers or gums, whole grain bread is real food. It comes from nature. It nourishes your body the way it was meant to be nourished. Let me tell you about Robert. He's 63, retired, and was convinced that cutting out bread completely was the only way to manage his diabetes. But he was miserable. He missed his morning toast, his sandwiches, his comfort foods. When he finally tried switching to real whole grain bread, just 1 slice a day, his sugar stayed stable, and his mood improved dramatically. He said it felt like he got a piece of his life back. Because food is emotional, and when you're told to avoid the foods you love, it can make every meal feel like a punishment. But with the right knowledge and the right bread, you can turn food into your ally again. Whole grain bread does that. It brings balance, stability, and joy back into your diet. And here's the best part. You don't have to find some fancy specialty store to get it. You just need to read the labels and make smart choices. In the next block, we'll dive into a more ancient type of bread with incredible blood sugar benefits, a deep, satisfying flavor, and a reputation for keeping people full for hours. You've probably heard of it before, but you've never seen it like this. get ready for the underrated powerhouse, rye bread. Let's move on to a bread that's been around for centuries, but is finally getting the recognition it deserves in the diabetic community, rye bread. Now, rye bread isn't your typical fluffy loaf. It's dense, it's bold. It has that earthy, slightly tangy taste that either hooks you immediately or grows on you. But one thing is certain, it's one of the best breads for blood sugar control. Why? Because rye bread is made from rye flour, which has a lower glycemic index than wheat flour. That means it digests more slowly and causes a slower, smaller rise in blood sugar levels. But there's more to it. Rye is naturally rich in insoluble fiber, which helps reduce the post-meal glucose spike by slowing carbohydrate absorption. It also boosts satiety, meaning you feel full for much longer after eating it. And that's key, because if you're constantly hungry, you're more likely to snack, overeat, and lose control of your glucose. Here's a real-life example. A slice of toasted rye bread with cottage cheese, sliced cucumber, and a drizzle of olive oil can be one of the most filling and stable breakfasts you've ever had. It fuels you for hours without a crash, and it tastes fresh, clean, and satisfying. Or try this for dinner. Rye bread sandwich with turkey breast, arugula, and mustard. It's got protein, fiber, and healthy fat, all balanced to avoid any blood sugar surge. Now, not all rye breads are equal. Avoid the ones that look too soft or light. Those are often blended with refined wheat flour and don't offer the full benefits. Look for whole rye flour as the first ingredient. Darker, denser loaves are usually a better bet. Let's not forget, rye also contains compounds that may help with insulin sensitivity and appetite regulation, according to several nutritional studies. So you're not just eating bread, you're eating with intention. That brings us to one of the most advanced forms of bread available today, sprouted grain bread. Sprouted breads are different. They're not made with flour. Instead, they're made by soaking whole grains until they begin to sprout, and then baking them while the grain is still alive and packed with enzymes. This process increases nutrient availability, improves digestion, and lowers the bread's glycemic impact. That means when you eat sprouted bread, you're getting more bioavailable vitamins, more complete proteins, and more soluble fiber, all of which help manage blood sugar more effectively. Sprouted bread is also one of the few types that naturally contains all 9 essential amino acids, which support metabolism and tissue repair. It's basically bread, but upgraded. What's the catch? It's a little denser than regular bread, and the texture might take some getting used to, but once you do, you may never go back. Here's how to make it delicious. For breakfast, toast a slice of sprouted bread, add a poached egg, and some baby spinach. For a snack, spread almond butter and add blueberries on top. For a light lunch, top it with hummus, roasted red peppers, and arugula. It's versatile, deeply nourishing, and incredibly stable in terms of glucose response. One of the most trusted brands is Ezekiel 4-9, which you can find in many health food stores or online. Just make sure to store it in the freezer, as sprouted bread has no preservatives and can spoil quickly. Let me be clear, you don't have to eat sprouted bread every day to see benefits. Even incorporating it twice a week can significantly impact your inflammation levels, digestive health, and sugar control. Now let's step back for a second. You've just learned about 5 breads that diabetics not only can eat, but should eat regularly. Each one has unique properties that support glucose control, heart health, energy levels, and satisfaction. But more importantly, these breads give you back something that diabetes often tries to take away: freedom. The freedom to enjoy your food. The freedom to have a sandwich without guilt. The freedom to feel normal at the table again. And that freedom starts with knowledge. Because when you know what to choose, you take back control. You no longer have to fear bread. You just have to be smart about it. And now you are. So here's my question for you. Which of these breads are you going to try this week? Which one are you going to add to your routine? Not as a restriction, but as an act of care for your body. If you want to see how thousands of people are improving their blood sugar naturally, the answer is waiting in the link below. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like it, share it with someone who needs this message, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next life-changing tip. Thank you for watching, and remember, you have more power than you think, and that includes the power to eat well and feel good doing it.